Good to go.
What have we started?
Well, we are about to. We're about to start.
Okay.
Keith Smith, welcome to the Your PT pod. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, do you know what? Before we get started, it's coming towards the end of the summer, and I haven't had a holiday this year. And last night was lovely, mate. So thank you. Honestly, before we get going, it was a pleasure to spend some time with you over some really lovely food.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. So bless you for that. It was fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. And I love hosting people in my hometown of Swansea. Very proud of the city. And it's great to, expose it to some, industry colleagues. And we've had lots of opportunities in the last year because we're to the date pretty much. We're a year old having head office now in Swansea. So, yeah.
It's So I did a lot of work, not a lot, regular work in Swansea before 2020.
Yes.
Coming down and doing bits and pieces for different people.
Yeah.
But it's changed a lot.
It has, yeah.
Coming here today from the hotel, it's like it's a different road system.
We move with the times. We do. We're a very dynamic city. So, no, it has changed. And we'll touch on that because, there's a lot of crossover history there. With the likes of Bay Leisure and the work that you used to do with Bay Leisure to engage clients on the gym floor and some of the stuff your PT did with that company as well. But I'm thrilled, Keith. I'm thrilled that you're here. For me, you're one of the most unassuming people in the industry. I love your energy. I love your character. I think for the purpose of context, we met just 3 years ago, I believe, at Evolve.
Probably one of the hottest days of that year. Do you remember it? It was warm.
It was baking, and we were in central London, weren't we? So we were
We were in Covent Garden, just off Seven Dials, weren't we? Lovely little venue.
It was. Yeah, it was the Red Bull venue. It was a beautiful venue, and it was interesting to see how your character changed throughout the day. Obviously, you were speaking at that event. You were educating the room, which was packed full of, industry leaders. And your message was really powerful, Keith. But, looking at you kind of warming up, getting ready, getting prepped, and then delivering, I was blown away. I was literally sitting there. I was like, we got to get this guy involved in your PT to educate the trainers. Because for me, it was just so relevant to what PTs need to be doing in the early stages.
Bless you.
But since then, we've obviously developed a great working relationship.
Very much so. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
I thank you again, not only for the food last night and what was my holiday, but
24-hour holiday in Swansea. But I mean, you've supported the business, and we are super grateful for your input, Keith, as well, with the likes of Level Up, your PT, and your academy now as well, when you support them with tutoring and assessing. So we've developed a really strong relationship over the last few years, which will continue.
No, bless you for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure. Now, for the purpose of today, this podcast is aimed at personal trainers. So they could be in the industry and thriving and looking for some extra tips and help. They could be brand new to the industry and looking at ways of how they can effectively get started on their career journey. So What I'd like to do is just paint the picture on the topics we're going to cover, and then we'll dive into a bit more about Mr. Smith. So the three areas we'll touch on today, Keith, are common traits, firstly, of successful PT. So what hallmarks stand out for a successful PT? We'll look at how to become an effective educator, because I think that is important to any PTs considering developing their career into tutoring and assessing. But also there's some lessons in there for coaching, I think, as well. There's some transferable skills. And we'll look at the importance of networking and attending in-person events, because obviously we've developed our relationship through in-person events. So we can touch on that a little bit as well. But let's start with you, Keith. Tell us the story. So from the start of your journey into the fitness industry to where you are today, I think it would be intriguing for everyone to get to know you a bit more.
Wow. I don't know where to start, really. Do you want starting in the industry or before the industry?
Let's go before, because this ties onto interesting kind of career that I was not aware of. So let's start with like athletics, because I'd imagine that's where you got your passion for fitness from.
Yeah, so sport and school
Yeah.
for me was a disaster, to be fair. Used to all line up. Do you remember? At my school, you used to all line up.
Yeah.
And then they'd pick the two best footballers who were the captains.
Yeah.
Right? And then they would pick different people.
That's so harsh. Process of elimination.
Process.
Isn't it?
Well, it used to be me and the tree left, right? And they'd say, and I'd see one of them go, yeah, we'll have the tree,
Yeah.
right? So sport at school was non-existent.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Okay.
My dad and my uncle, in their youth, they used to run.
Yeah.
So my dad took me down the local running track.
Yeah.
And I joined the local running club. And for a couple of years, there was this marvellous group, and we used to go down there Tuesday and Thursday. Am I waffling or is it interesting?
This is good. This is good.
For a couple of years, I used to go down on a Tuesday and Thursday, and being a young lad, I didn't used to go down every Tuesday and Thursday, and used to try every different event. Mm-hmm. So Tuesday night, you go down, you try javelin.
Yeah.
Not very good at that. Thursday night, you go down, try discus. Not very good at that. But I just suppose I persisted with it, and after a few years, found an event that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And it turned out all right for a few years. To be fair,
Yeah. Well,
it was
intriguing what you were sharing yesterday. So
it was really good. And although I was never going to be exceptional, I had a really good time.
Yeah.
At athletics.
Yeah.
For a number of years, to be fair, until sort of around the age of 16, 17, 18, when I got a few injuries, and it just really got on top of me, I think, and I stopped. But it was all right. Went running the county championships, running the Southern Counties championships.
Yeah.
Went to the English schools. Yeah, it was.
Some of the names you were mentioning yesterday, they like famous Olympians, decorated athletes, and it was 400 meters. Was
400 and 800 meters
400 and 800,
was the event, and there was lucky enough to spend some time around people and some people from the club that I belonged to.
Yeah.
Did successfully before my time and then after my time.
Yeah.
Go to different events. That was never going to happen to me. I'd just like to say that on camera. That was never going to happen to me.
Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Absolutely.
It was lovely, and still there was a little bit of time where I sort of didn't watch athletics for a long time, but since having children and them growing up, we actually go to a few athletics events now.
Amazing!
It's
and
quite,
they're great
it's quite
events,
nice.
aren't they?
Yeah. Just on camera, I'd just like to say it wasn't going to happen to me, like going to those big events. I was just a club athlete.
Yeah.
It was good.
You learn a lot about yourself, and you build up a lot of character through attending these events, and participating in a competitive environment. Yeah. Were there any coaches that helped you or inspired you along the way through your athletic journey?
Yeah. One particularly. And still keep in touch with them.
Okay.
And definitely one in particular, certainly to this day, influences how I structure a session, which is really weird. Okay. That was I changed clubs at some point, and went to a different club. It was to this day they still influence, I think, why I do things a certain way, which is really strange, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, no, I think when you get inspired by individuals, I think it plants a seed deep in your mind, and you sort of relate back to those experiences. And arguably, you've probably done it over the years, maybe subconsciously, in developing your own, tutoring, coaching methodology based on what you learned from your own coach and your own experience.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I like, as a personal trainer and as a class teacher, the reason I like training the new to exercise, or those people who have had barriers to exercise, is probably because towards the end of the time I spent doing athletics, it was all, struggling to get over illness or injury, probably. And I probably favour that. And remember that the tree was picked before me.
Well, again, you don't get away from that either. That's planted in there. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously involved in sports, involved in athletics. When did you join the fitness industry? When did you think this is a career pathway I want to pursue? What did that look like?
So the running thing finished for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was doing a few different jobs, and for some reason, it's a true story, for some reason I ended up outside the YMCA in Tottenham Court Road, just off Tottenham Court Road in Great Russell Street, in 1992.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes me really old for those people who's thinking, how old is he? And for some reason I was outside there, and for some reason I walked in. And it was quite a unique club. Unfortunately, last year it shut down, and I don't know what's happening to the club there now. There's a few bits that pop up on social media. It's now not the club at Central London. And it was quite a unique design, and you walk down this ramp to reception. And I walked down this ramp to reception and looked over the balcony, and there was like a class going on what was the sports hall or the badminton court floor.
Yeah.
And I said to someone at reception, "No, what are they doing down there?" And they said, "Oh, they're training to be fitness instructors," because there wasn't a personal trainer qualification then. You either did fitness training or you did exercise to music.
Yeah.
Well, if you've ever seen me dance, you know that exercise to music is not for me. So, and I went, "Oh." And they said, "If you want to do that course, the office is round the corner." So I wandered round to the office round the corner and got some information on this fitness training course and thought about it for a couple of weeks. And they either did a 2-week intensive, or you did one night a week on a Tuesday for 6 months.
Okay.
And I was so nervous about doing this fitness training course. Yeah. I thought the 2-week intensive would be too much for me. Yeah. So I did the one night a week for 6 months.
Okay. Yeah.
And really, from that point onwards, didn't look back, really.
Brilliant.
Still continued doing the other job that I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
But gradually, over the course of 2, 3 or 4 years, made the transition from doing that job to becoming freelance in the fitness industry. And I suppose I joined it just at the right time, because personal training then took off. Yeah. I got an opportunity at Central London YMCA to teach voluntarily there. Okay. And I taught circuit training there on a Friday night for 2 years as a volunteer. Okay.
So you put your hand up, you wanted to dive in, get some experience. Perfect. A lot of lessons there. Yeah.
Most definitely. I spent the first year working voluntarily at the Y in Central London as as a class teacher.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think the education structure has clearly changed substantially over the time you've been in the industry, Keith. But it's not it's not a surprise to me that you've stood the test of time and that your education principles have remained the same. Because I'm a firm believer in that face-to-face interaction, education experience is optimal for fitness professionals. And I get, there's some constraints these days with access and, online is the rage at the moment. But those key education principles from back in the day, I think are still super relevant.
Well, I mean, it changed my life forever. I don't mean to say that. School for me wasn't good, not only in terms of sport, but in terms of education. Yeah. And it did change my life forever. My tutor on the one night a week was Dr. Paul Bedford.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I've known Paul now since 1992.
Yeah.
And he was the tutor.
Amazing.
On that one night a week, and he never missed a Tuesday night. To be fair,
what a wealth of experience to tap into. What a great opportunity as as a student to learn from someone like Dr. Paul.
and be doing the one night a week.
Yeah,
like tutors who were training to be tutors for the YMCA, they would also pop in and do sessions, and they're still in the industry today as well. Yeah. So I met loads of different people, and when they said to me, "Would you like to teach a class voluntarily on a Friday night?" Because my experience in the fitness training course was that good, one of the perks of being a volunteer was that you got free courses with the YMCA. So I thought, well, okay, and then I did fitness testing and exercise counselling, and then I did older adult, and I did all these because I was a volunteer. I got to do some courses, which was lovely.
Amazing. And that took you on your journey then, Keith, into freelance tutoring. You've worked for many, many organisations throughout your tenure in the industry.
Yeah. So I worked. I stayed at the Y and did older adult, and from doing older adult, exercise referral schemes started to pop up all over London, and there was no qualification in exercise referral at the time. So I started working on a exercise referral scheme in Deptford in southeast London. Did also had a few jobs in gyms as gym instructing started to take off, and again there was no personal training. Although there were a few celebrity trainers in London, but not as we see it today.
No.
And did that for a couple of years, teaching a few classes, working on exercise referral schemes, doing a bit of gym instructing.
Yeah.
And then kept on pestering the tutors at YMCA to say, how do I become a tutor?
Yeah.
And after about 3 years of pestering them, I don't think I got to be a tutor through talent. I think I got it through pestering, to be quite honest.
Keep knocking on the door.
Yeah, I just kept knocking at the door.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity, and so I did my first course in '92, and I think in about the end of '95 got an opportunity to observe my first course, because the structure of becoming a tutor back then with the YMCA was tough.
Rigid.
You had to rigid. You had to observe a course in full.
Yeah.
And then you went away and you stayed working for them to get your experience. And then I was told categorically, you would never deliver a course on your own until you got a certificate in education.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working. So I had to do my certificate in education part-time. So I went to Lewisham College, which was on the education side, which was part of Canterbury University. And I did my Cert Ed there the tutors. So I was in a room with not with fitness people, in my education, doing my certificate in education, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was in the room with people who were doing from all backgrounds.
Yeah, from all different sectors.
From all learning from them. I had someone, she was teaching millinery. She was a hat maker and she was teaching millinery, and there was a maths teacher in the room, and it was brilliant. And my tutors were right political.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. So we discussed the political situation within education in the 90s, and it was lovely.
I think and when you got a thirst for knowledge, you pull on these different personalities, and you seek to learn and understand, where they're coming from. But I think what you've just explained there, Keith, it shows that YMCA back in the day had really firm standards, and they were unshakable, in terms of. Offering mediocrity.
So they called it course director, James. They called it being a course director.
Yeah.
And I'd really set my sights on being a course director.
Yeah.
Still working in the industry. I didn't want to ever lose touch with that. So I still did my exercise referral. I still taught classes and a little bit of gym instructing. But I'd set my sights on being a course director. To be a course director, you had to have industry experience of at least 2 years, I remember.
Okay.
You had to have your certificate in education, which took me 2 years to get. And there was a logbook, the dreaded logbook. And the logbook consisted of every single timetabled session on a course.
Okay.
You had to deliver that session twice on different occasions in front of 2 different course directors. And you had to get every single session signed off twice by 2 different course directors.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean that you turned up, delivered it, and they signed it off, because there was loads of times I turned up, delivered it, they gave me feedback and went, no, we're not signing it off.
Yeah.
And you would think, so I would say, it was an apprenticeship in becoming a tutor. So even though I started my journey, and really fortunate. It was probably the first time in my life that I was picked first before the tree. That I was really fortunate to get the opportunity, and the opportunity came at the end of about 95, after like 2 years in the industry.
Yeah.
I don't think I course directed on my own, stood in front of a group of learners on my own until about 99.
Okay. So what's that, 4 year?
Yeah.
4 year journey.
4 year journey
of learning. But what you've explained there as well is you've actually gone and practiced what you're educating as well. You've gone and delivered your group exercise. You've done the fitness instructing. You've earned your stripes. You've put time and energy into that, Keith. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And it's great to have boundaries and standards, because we see it firsthand at your PT. We're interviewing personal trainers who are qualified on paper, and you just think they're not industry ready. There are individuals who I think have been through a process and they've had almost like a soft sign off. Oh yeah, tick the box, get it done. But that's where the blurred lines come in the industry for me then, and it's why we work so hard with your academy to ensure that every graduate through your academy is industry ready and they're prepared.
The process was quite nice. I still was supported financially by them. So at that time, if the numbers on a course were over 16, there was a course director and an assistant. So I got loads of assisting work. At first you made the tea and coffee, right? And then they let you do some sessions where you might get signed off. And then you would co-direct as well.
Nice.
And there was some really, and there's a lot of course directors at was then YMCA who I must thank massively, who allowed me to co-direct with them. Trevor Clark, Tim Shaw, these individuals allowed me to co-direct with them, which was, from their point of view, was a lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
And I owe them a lot. And it was at the time when the transition happened towards personal training. So a personal trainer course came along.
Yeah.
So we started to work and develop our tutoring skills at delivering that. I had an opportunity to go and personal train with someone, so I was then getting industry relevant information.
Perfect. Yeah.
And the personal trainer came on, so courses were getting more frequent, and people saw personal training as a career.
Yeah.
And then it also got to the turning point where you need a qualification to assess.
Mm-hmm.
So I was one of the second or third wave of tutors who went through the assessing qualification. So I was working towards my certificate in education for delivery, but I was also working towards my assessing qualifications, which at the time were called D32 and D33.
Yeah.
And so financially they supported me. It wasn't I did everything for nothing. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was a good time, and they were everyone was lovely. There was a lady in charge of the tutors, Sonia Higgs, who supported me massively in terms of achieving that as well as another tutor, Tracy Bell, who. And I felt really supported for the first time.
And I think the industry is very good at giving time and giving back.
Yeah.
So, that again, that's not a surprise. And it's, you would have done that yourself throughout your career. Keith has gone the extra mile and given back to the learners that you're looking after.
I felt really fortunate for the first time in my life in terms of education that there were people who were willing to give up their time to support you.
100%. I've got a few questions about kind of how people can become tutors and the process involved and things of that nature. We'll come back to it towards the end, because what I'd really like to focus on now is diving into these three key areas. So the first one we're going to look at, because again, you're a perfect person to speak to about this. You've educated hundreds, probably thousands of personal trainers through your career. Let's look at common traits for successful PTs. So
common traits for successful PTs?
Yes.
Okay.
So first and foremost, in your eyes, are there any common
definitely.
traits?
I have had the pleasure of sitting down and having a coffee with a lot of what I would consider successful PTs. Okay. That has been a joy in my time, that they've actually given me the time and I've sat down with them. And I definitely know there are a few traits outside of. Now, I'll rephrase that. Here are the common traits. All right, they know their identity.
Okay,
they know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They know their vision. They know their mission. They know their values.
Okay,
that's fundamental, I think. And I think the current qualification maybe touches on that in the business section. But to me, they know that. They also know their audience. Yeah. So identity, values, and vision.
Vision, yeah.
They know their audience. They clearly don't go after everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So they in your experience, they find their niche.
They have an audience, and within that audience, they also have a niche.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So identity, audience, and niche.
Yeah.
And the final trait for me is that they have an inherent passion to develop themselves and master their skills.
Yeah, I love that terminology.
They don't. So I just recently read a book, and it's called Mastery.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten the author, and it was basically the first rule of mastery is the fear of other people's opinions. It was a lovely read. I've forgotten the author, which is a real shame. And he said that mastery was an inner-driven ability that is expressed externally.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mastery. That it's an inner-driven thing.
Yeah.
to develop yourself, but it's expressed externally. You know, like people see, oh, how good they are, but to develop themselves is just an inherent trait, or they've developed it, or they've worked at it, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't matter whatever people I've met in the industry, they know their audience. Within that audience, they have a niche. They clearly know their identity, their vision, mission, values. They have a story.
Yeah, yeah.
And they do try and master their skills. And on a number of levels, I do think that mastery is massively important. And I define mastery as, in the book Coaching for Performance by Sir John Whitmore, where he looks at the stages of competency, and that mastery is trying to get to that stage of being unconsciously competent.
Okay.
Because when you're unconsciously competent, all those skills that you need to deliver a session on the gym floor, where you position yourself, where you stand, how much eye contact you make, the words that you use, the words that you don't use, the pauses that you make, they become natural. So you stop thinking about yourself and you can focus on the individual in front of you.
Makes sense.
And it's that for me, mastery is that bit of getting to that point of being unconsciously competent.
Yeah.
That's how I would define it.
I would totally agree with that. The mastery thing ties in with the theme of kind of 10,000 hours as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
the rule of 10,000 hours.
Yeah, Ericsson, and
yeah.
And actually, there's been a few people now who said it's not 10,000 hours, but it's just dedicating yourself.
It might not be, but if you reach that level of unconscious competence, then that is your trigger, isn't it? That is your marker to say, actually, I've arrived.
Yeah.
I'm now at this level. Everything you mentioned there, Keith, are raw business pillars. So vision, values, identity, are all key fundamentals to running a successful business. The entrepreneurial kind of skills and areas that PTs should work on, particularly if they're moving into a self-employed environment.
Yeah,
I think they're really important and really pertinent. But if a PT has gaps when they've started off in the industry, and they might have gaps with defining their vision, defining their identity, not having a clear mission, what steps do you think they should consider putting in place to ensure that they land, on nailing them down?
Well, this is going to be a bit controversial now. I'm probably going to upset a few people.
I love a bit of controversy. You call for it.
If you love the industry and you haven't got those things sorted, I would take a step back. I would take a step back and take a role as a gym instructor. Honestly,
I think that's a very
honestly.
fair point.
I would take. If you love the industry that much and you want to support people, but you're still not quite sure on what to do, take a step back and become a gym instructor, because you still get to interact with people. And to be fair, the biggest one person I've got to thank more than anyone else is my wife. She has a shoe habit. So
tell me about this.
I would still be a gym instructor.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
because you mentioned it earlier. I hope you don't mind me sharing, but you said naturally, you're not business minded.
No, not at all.
During our conversation,
not at all. Not at all. I don't think it would have. I just love being around people.
Yeah.
I think I would have enjoyed a career in hospitality or in retail, or maybe in tourism. Yeah. I just ended up in fitness because I had a brief time at running for a club.
Yeah.
So but if someone's not quite clear on those things, my advice to them would be to step back.
Yeah.
And do the gym instructor. But although they don't exist a lot in many clubs, I'm sure you could find one and spend 6 months. Some of the best people I've known as personal trainers, who are really good at their craft,
Yeah.
You know,
I think
they spent a few years as a gym instructor.
Yeah, there's values, and I think when you're looking at plug-in skills gaps, opening your eyes, opening your peripheral vision a little bit more is effective. So, does it always have to be gym instructing? Could it be group exercise? Could it be volunteering to coach, junior sports teams at your local football or rugby club?
Yeah.
Because that will empower personal trainers. It'll help them get familiar with an environment when they're talking to an audience, they're planning a session, they're communicating effectively, they're looking at poise and posture and all the other stuff that we talk about. But I think there's always ways and methods that PTs can build those gaps. But I think you're right to a degree there, Keith. I think if a personal trainer doesn't show those core business entrepreneurial skills, they need to act quickly and think logically about being self-employed within our sector.
Yeah, and step back and enjoy the industry.
Exactly.
For the joy of just being around people.
Yeah.
And say to yourself, for the next 6 months, I'm going to think about who I am, what I value, and like the basis of building a business.
And we've had some amazing stories over the years of exactly that happening at interview phase. We've had an honest conversation with the applicant. We've gone, listen, we're going to check in 6 months to look at progress. And they've really appreciated it.
Yeah.
And they've gone, do you know what? I've brushed up on this. I'm feeling a lot more confident. Yeah. I now have a clear vision and business plan. We've gone, right, great. Yeah. Now we can help. Now we can get you started.
And I think you're right. And I'd not thought about it before. But, going into Group X, I started as a Group X instructor.
Yeah.
There was very little gym instructor roles. It was, we taught Group X.
Yeah. Group X. And I've thrown myself into those environments, probably quicker than I'd like to, but you learn so much, Keith, don't you, about being in front of that audience and commanding everyone's attention, delivering a message. Okay, and that probably brings me on then to the next area to look at is how can someone become an effective educator? So I think coaches, personal trainers, we are educators by, in principle. We are educating our clients about lifestyle and fitness and gym training, so on and so forth. You touched on where your passion from education has kind of come from. Have you got any tips, Keith, on how coaches or educators can deliver a message powerfully?
So there's a couple of things there that I just need to get clear in my head, because I don't want to say the wrong thing because we're on camera, right? And it goes out there and people think, who is he? Who is this bloke? So are we talking about good PTs who want to progress their career and move into education, or are we talking about how is education aligned with PT?
I think both. I think if we look at it from a PT's perspective, delivering a message to their client, and then also a tutor delivering a message to their learner, for me, there seems to be crossover.
There's massive.
There seems to be loads of crossover, loads of common traits and processes. I just want to kind of dive into, from your experience, are there any things that have allowed you to deliver an impactful message? Because when we first met at Evolve, that session you run was so impactful, it really kind of connected with me on quite a deep level. But I just wanted to try and extract it. Have you learned anything over the years that has enabled you to be impactful with your education?
So the point that you made a few moments ago, I started to realise at the time that an instructor's role, and then as I was doing my certificate in education, the stuff we were learning there, and the industry was moving into PT, I realised now that maybe a PT's role, and I may be wrong here, but maybe a PT's role actually lies more in education than it does in fitness.
Yeah.
And there was a quote, an article that I read a few years ago, a long time ago now, and it might have been from ACSM or it might have been from the American Council on Exercise, that actually people go to a class, a group class for a workout, but they might go to their PT for education. It's about learning.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe moving towards being independent.
Yeah.
Getting an exercise identity, growing, moving up Maslow, moving towards self-belief.
Okay.
Yeah, self-esteem.
Yes.
Yeah. And for me, you know, my target audience as a personal trainer is the new to exercise, or those who have had bad experiences in exercise in the past. And for me, I would say that it's more about education and how you go about educating than it is about fitness. I can do fitness. I can deliver a class where, you know, everyone gets a safe and effective and enjoyable workout.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
But I do believe that, and the more I read about, how do I put this? There has to be more that we offer as an industry than fitness. Right, without being rude about our industry, fitness is now free. Mm-hmm. It's free.
Yeah.
Right? So what is it that a personal trainer offers? Right? To me, it has to be about taking that client on their own unique personal journey. Yes? And this is a real I don't do it, and I'm not claiming that I do it, but it's about transforming the client. It's about transformation, and I don't mean a
6 weeks
dropping body fat and increasing muscle mass. I think we do ourselves an injustice, a real injustice when we use the word. It's about transforming mentally, spiritually. Mm-hmm. It's about taking a client on their own journey, moving up Maslow from esteem to self-esteem to self-belief, and hopefully moving on to, well, wherever they want to go. So I personally believe there's more in education, how we do things, than actually the content of a session. Although I'm not knocking learning more about content. If it does that, maybe I've not expressed myself.
No,
it's 8:30 in the morning, mate. I don't normally get up till 12.
There's some great themes and threads in there, and it's consistent. You mentioned something there, Keith, around self-belief. So I think in order to convey a message, you have to truly believe in that. So when we go back to the question there of how to make an impact, how to deliver a message and make it stick.
Oh, so in terms of an educator now?
Yeah, I'll stick with it. I think PTs need to adopt the same principles. So the self-belief, the ability to tell stories. You mentioned that earlier in the session as well. So storytelling, conveying a message, making people believe, that's...
So, again, going back to the Cert Ed and education, we spent a lot of time looking at what is a session aim, what is an aim of a session that you're delivering, and it's the same whether it could be an education session or it's the same as whether it could be a PT session. That session has an aim. There is a purpose to doing it. And then there are outcomes. To achieve that aim, there are certain outcomes within that session. And whether it's a PT session or whether it's an education session, every session that you deliver should have a clear aim
Yeah.
And that aim you can justify that over time will lead them to where they want to be.
Yeah.
Right? And then in that session, there are certain outcomes.
Yeah.
Right? That is fundamental in terms of delivering a message. And we clearly know, or I was taught, that adults like to know where they're going.
Yeah.
They like to go there and they like to know where they've been. So you've done a session with me as an educational session, and you know that at the start of the session, I say, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
And then we go there, and then at the end, I tell you, this is where we've been.
Yeah.
I do the same when I teach a class.
Brilliant.
And I do the same when I teach a PT session.
Yeah.
Because there's an element that we know adults like that. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It also adds value. Oh, okay, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
And I also, when I'm charging for a PT session, during the warm-up, I like to justify. Yeah, one of the things that I'm justifying is the fact that I know where they're going, and this is what we're doing to get there. And I haven't lost the understanding that this is where they want to go.
Perfect.
So in terms of delivering a message, aims and outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell them where they're going.
Yeah.
Do it. Tell them where they've been.
And that is it. I mean, and you're right, Keith. You've never delivered a session, whether it be at Level Up or for your academy, without putting forward aims, objectives, and that roadmap. That's always consistent in any slides that you deliver. That roadmap is there, so you're painting the picture from the start. So going back to the question there, to be impactful, you draw out the plan, you create the roadmap, and that's applicable to personal trainers in the gym. Speaking to your client, listen, this is today's agenda.
Yeah.
This is why it's relevant to your goals.
Yeah.
We're going to go on this journey. We're going to review at the end.
Yeah.
And when you're delivering as a tutor to a group of learners, you're doing exactly the same. So you're getting your buy-in straight from the get-go.
Definitely.
Love that.
Definitely.
Okay.
And there's also, in terms of delivering a message, and this is quite weird, and please forgive me, a few years ago, when the studio had virtual started to come into classes, and online learning started to come into the industry, I did start to, worry a little bit about what would happen to a job that I love to do. Mm-hmm. And I do consider that I love my job and it's not a passion. And I do believe there's a massive difference between love and passion. And the book that you must read is Be So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. Okay. And it's a spin on Steve Martin's quote, the comedian, be so good they can't ignore you. And he outlines very much the difference between love and passion. And I very much believe that I love my job and I love being around people. And when we started to do online training, which I agree with, by the way, there are certain things that I'm not against it in any way. There are certain things that can be and should be delivered online. Mm-hmm. Then we started to get the virtual thing. I started to think, hold on a minute, this is worrying. And so I did some courses in beginners acting.
Oh, okay.
I went to Sadler's Wells Theatre.
Yeah.
And did a couple of Saturday mornings.
Okay.
Well, not that I want to be in EastEnders or nothing, right?
But you were stretching yourself.
I was thinking about in terms of a performance, in terms of getting a message across.
Yeah.
What are these individuals doing? I also did a stand-up comedy course.
Did you?
Yeah.
Have you ever done stand-up comedy?
Well,
to a live audience?
No. only to the group of individuals that were in front of me.
Yeah. Your trust circle.
Well, I never knew them. It was done above a pub in a comedy store in central London.
Yeah.
And the tutor was excellent. It was all interactive learning. They never used one PowerPoint slide or one bit of flip chart paper. It was outstanding. There were some people on that course who clearly were good at it, like come from a background of drama.
Right.
They said, where'd you come from, Keith? I went, working, what are you doing here? But I just wanted to learn from other people who deliver a message. and how they went about delivering a message. And I think doing that sort of thing, I think my PT delivery improved massively.
Yeah.
Definitely my class delivery, my group delivery improved massively.
Yeah.
And I also think that I developed and it was very kind of you earlier on to say how you enjoyed the sessions I did. I know that there's far more people out in the industry who don't enjoy how I deliver stuff. I think my presentation style improved, and also when I deliver level 2 and level 3 in person, how I structure groups and give feedback, I think it all improved from doing those sort of things. So I don't always think that CPD has to be industry related.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value to that term. I think, you know, what you've shown there, Keith, is you're not afraid to get uncomfortable to improve your output. And I think there's a lesson there for coaches, personal trainers, educators, you know, to actually stretch themselves, participate in different things that makes them feel uncomfortable. So that's where the growing happens. We know this. I think there's a ton of value in there.
I don't think none of my cohort on the comedy course laughed once at my jokes. Right?
So you didn't get that positive reinforcement from
it was like I would do something. I would say something, and there would just be a deadly silence in the room.
Oh dear!
But you know, from looking at them and how they delivered it, I learnt loads.
Yeah.
And maybe I was there for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't there because I wanted to make a career of it.
And there's probably a bit of a blurred line, isn't it, between a presenter and an educator? But
presenting an education is totally different. When I deliver a presentation, that's not how I do level 2 and level 3. They are very different. And I think those lines, you're quite right, James, those lines have been blurred.
Yeah.
And if someone came to see me do a weekend of level 2 and level 3 delivery, it's not how I present.
Yeah, exactly.
They are two totally different things.
Yeah.
Someone has kindly given me half an hour at an event to deliver a message.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
When you're doing level 2 and level 3, it's about them. It's about the people in front of you.
Yeah.
And we know that the learning is in the doing, not the telling.
That's right.
So if they want to become good trainers, they have to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
But when you're at an event for half an hour, it's just telling.
Small window. Yeah,
It's
small window, big bang impact. It comes on, goes back to the question earlier about being impactful. But I think you're exactly right. In an education environment, we've got a solid block of hours.
The learning is in the doing. If I'm on a level 2 and level 3 course, and I've spoken for more than 10 minutes, without them doing, I've let them down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I do a session with the clock in front of me, so I can see that clock. And it's like, say something, right, now you do it. Come back, feed it back. Say something, now you do it. If I'm talking on a PT course or a gym course for more than 10 minutes, I've let them down.
Yeah. And I think we've seen this as Level Up has evolved in the last 18 months. We've actually seen that become a more kind of learning, immersive environment. People are being asked questions. You can't really switch off at a Level Up event because someone like yourself or Phil Lorey or Ollie Patrick, they'll point at someone in the audience and they'll say, what's your answer to this question? They'll challenge people because we want everyone to leave that room with a plan that's specific to them and that they can action tomorrow and develop their PT careers. And
the Level Up has I'm sorry to interrupt. I've interrupted you 2 or 3 times this morning, and I do apologise. But the Level Up event is really good because the way you set it up at the beginning with the workbook, making notes, making action plans.
Commit to people.
For me, if I may continue on the educational theme, as an educator, that when I'm delivering, there are always 3 things on my mind. There is, first of all, how do I make these people feel comfortable?
Yeah. Because
we clearly know that you're not going to learn unless you feel safe and your psychological needs have been met.
Okay.
It comes back to Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. So there's there's that. Do they feel safe? Do they feel comfortable? If the fire alarm goes off, do they? I know it's all silly stuff. Do they know where the toilet is? Do they know when we're taking a break?
Yeah.
You know, stuff goes on outside the classroom, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, if you're worried about a phone call that you've got to make and you can't make it, but you know we're breaking at 11, so you can, it makes them feel. So as an educator, and it comes back, I am going to come back to the level up events, because I think definitely you're moving in the right direction. So as an educator delivering a session, first of all, it's about their safety. Mm-hmm. Then it comes back to delivering the aims and outcomes.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's about checking learning. So all those things are within my power. Oh, it's not power, wrong word. All those things are within my influence.
Influence, yeah, of course.
Right? Okay. I can create a safe learning environment, hopefully. I can deliver aims and outcomes in a way that's learner-focused and not... So the learning is in the doing, so I can achieve the aims and outcomes with them doing. While they're doing it, I can ask questions, so I'm checking their learning.
Yeah.
All that is within capabilities. But it's the behaviour change that follows on from that. That when you've only got 1 day of learning or 4 days of delivery, it's the behaviour change that you want in your learners for them to be successful. Mm. And that's becoming the most difficult thing. And what you guys are doing at Level Up is that you're trying to get them to write an action plan, get them to think about what they do next. So hopefully they go away with that mindset of, I'm going to change my behaviour. There's been something about today. I've written it down. And for me, that's the worrying thing about our industry, is that, and I've thought about this for a long time, it is that mentoring side of things. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Because you want 3 things from learning. Well, no one does any learning unless they want a behaviour change, right? And in terms of learning, I want to create a safe, comfortable environment, so they can learn. I want to deliver the session content, and I want to check, you know. I read a book once, you know, learning takes place in someone's head, you know, unless the tutor sets tasks or asks questions that they can actually demonstrate that learning. How do you know they've learned anything? You know, so I can do that. But when they then leave, where does that behaviour change? Because that's a long-term thing, isn't it? Behaviour change.
And you need that check and balance. And that you're right. I think the power of committing to paper, it makes it specific and relevant to the individual.
Yeah. And I also think that, coming back to what you do at Level Up, there is that constant drip feed of mentoring. And you do have a lot of trainers, and it must be challenging to try and mentor them. And I do believe that is the biggest gap for education in our industry right now, that there's some quality 1 or 2 day CPDs that are going on.
Yeah.
Where people are creating a real nice learning environment, they're delivering the content and they're checking learning.
Yeah.
But when does the behaviour change take place?
100%.
And I do believe that is the biggest gap.
Yeah.
You know, that there are some really good PTs out there who actually could become mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, and I think that's going to be vital. Moving forward in developing the workforce. Yeah,
100%. And you know, you compare the mentorship to a PT who's quite new to the industry, to the journey you take your client on in the gym floor. So naturally, you've got those capabilities and characteristics that you need to be an effective mentor. And we see this, you know, on a frequent basis with your PT, Keith, of, you know, PTs who are thriving and developing. There's a clear career pathway into mentoring and supporting other communities, PTs in a localised geography, because it's effective. And I know we are very proud to have the length of stay of trainers that we do. Mm-hmm. But I think, the Level Up event kind of takes us naturally into the importance of networking, you know, building, you know, a network of like-minded individuals, colleagues in the industry, and attending in-person events. And I think if I cast my mind back to when I was, self-employed PT, I wouldn't afford the time to go and educate myself and, get around the industry and, learn about different people. It just wasn't on my agenda. I was purely focused on revenue and hitting my targets and building my business. But in hindsight, I think that was probably the wrong approach. I think there's so much value you can get from attending these in-person events. When I did start committing and going, I thought I should have done this years ago, and it would have fast-tracked me to where I wanted to go.
Yeah. No, I believe the same, really. And there are a lot of really nice little events that go on all the time. And we've been to a few this year ourselves, and I will never stop going to those in-person events.
It plugs the gap as well, really, doesn't it? So if we're now in an environment where online education, all the information's being consumed at home. You're going into the gym maybe 2 or 3 times throughout your education process, but then go into these events, meeting brands, operators, suppliers to the industry. It can really open your mind, in terms of, actually, this is an industry I love and I want to stick around for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that each year comes round. You think, what events am I going to go to next year? What ones am I definitely going to go to?
Yeah.
And there's 2 or 3, we're in for 2nd of September doing this. Should I have said the date in case?
Doesn't matter, yeah, we've done it now.
We're the 2nd of September, and there's at least 3 events this year that I still want to go to.
Yeah.
And I will find the time.
We are spoiled for choice these days, aren't we? But I do think, I am obviously going to be a bit biased. I do think we have got a unique education event in Level Up.
We definitely.
And it's contained in a 4-hour segment. So in 4 hours, you're learning from the industry top people how to generate leads, how to sell, and how to retain a client base and build a community. So all the key pillars are there, which again, going back to the traits of a successful PT, if you're looking at plugging gaps and developing, all the answers are in those events.
Yeah, Level Up has been really good. I've been fortunate that I think you've invited me to every one.
Yeah.
And even when I had me bad back,
and
I couldn't move,
you were still there.
I still delivered, which was really nice of you to put a chair up there for me so I could deliver from a chair. And the guests that you've had there, it's been a privilege actually to be part of Level Up, to sit there and watch the other guests that you've invited speak. It's been lovely, and to watch its growth as well. And we did those first couple compared to the last one that we did in West London.
Yeah,
I mean, it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah,
that last one we attended was absolutely packed, wasn't it? Not just full of your PT trainers, but there were other trainers who came along for the day. It was nice to be part of that journey with you. But the guests that you've had have been wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. Yeah, no, and you're right. If you reflect, we've gone from a handful of people in a leisure centre to Porchester Hall, where we had a couple of 100 people.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is not just for your PT trainers. This is available to the whole sector.
Yeah.
Anyone can come along and plug themselves into this concept.
You can tell that it's an event run for PTs by PTs because you do 10 till 4.
Yeah.
So I can get a few
in.
clients in the morning and I can get a few clients in the evening. 100%. And in that middle bit, I've educated myself.
And that's maybe through the lessons that I've learned. That would have been the struggle for me, Keith. But if I'm living in London and I've got, easy access to Porchester Hall, right by Paddington, anyone can get there. I know that in my world, I can still retain my clients. I can still deliver, 5 sessions, 6 sessions that day and attend this event as well. So they're 100%. So, but okay, I can't let you off the hook with that then. So what can we improve on at Level Up? What do you think we could focus our attention on to make that more impactful as a concept to the PTs attending?
Well, it's a really it's a strong event. I mean, you do take the PT on a journey. You know, you do look at those 3 important plates that people spin. How do you attract them? How do you convert them? How do you retain them? Yeah. So you constantly give them information about spinning, how to keep those 3 plates spinning. Do you know what? You've thrown that out from me from way. I wish I'd gone back to do you know what? I'm going to have to reflect on that, because that is a lovely question. How do we follow up with them once they've left?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
is there, going back to that mentoring thing, which is something that your personal training is in a real good position to do. You know, you give them that workbook, they write their notes down. Are there any community groups that we could run where people could drop into? You know, and ask questions, because one of the things that I know I was lucky to have early on was people who didn't say they were mentors, but they were good mentors.
Yeah,
they'd been through the journey themselves,
given their time.
And they gave their time, and I do think that, you know, and I've said it before, and I'm going to bore people who are watching, that for me, mentoring is the missing piece of that education. It's massive.
Yeah.
You know, we don't stop learning just because we've got our level 3, and learning cannot, although there are wonderful CPDs out there, learning cannot just be CPDs. There has to be, you know, mentoring.
Yeah.
And I don't mean coaching. And if you read Coaching for Performance by Sir John Whitmore, he clearly highlights the difference between mentoring and coaching. I mean, someone who's a mentor, someone who has done the job and knows what it's like to walk in your shoes, if you like.
Oh, 100%.
And maybe, I think the event is lovely. You choose some fantastic venues. It's growing all the time. The attendees must feel so looked after with all the stuff that they get. It's positioned in a right time frame for them, in terms of they can still do bits and pieces morning and afternoon.
Yeah.
I think it's like community in some way, and I don't know how this is done, because I'm not that sort of online building a community person, but is there something that Level Up can do where there are sort of community groups that they can join and ask questions?
There certainly is. That's actually really valuable feedback and information. I was half expecting you to say better range of options at lunchtime, but
no, the food's always the food's always good, mate.
Yeah, exactly. We've leveled up on our catering. But do you know what, Keith? I think that's really good, because it's the first step, creating your plan, but then the accountability to execute the plan by having a mentor in your corner and support is critical. And of course, all of our personal trainers at your PT benefit from that mentorship. For the PTs who are not involved, maybe some follow-up online or in-person drop-in centres or hubs would be quite useful to keep that community bond, because we're you know, largely personal trainers are fairly isolated.
It is a lonely job sometimes.
Yeah. So I think it's been lovely sort of seeing this develop, getting to the level that we're currently at, and it wouldn't have been achieved without the likes of yourself contributing to these events. So we are extremely grateful, and long may it continue. Keith, we're at the end of our podcast.
Well, time's gone quick, mate. I was dreading it last night, thinking, what am I going to say?
Yeah, do you know what? They do go really quick, but we've touched on some amazing subjects today. There's a ton of value in there for anyone listening. We always like to give the final word to our guest, and I thought it'd be remiss of me not to tap into your knowledge base of this, but you've referenced various books and resources throughout the session today. Have you got a recommendation on either book lists or resources that PTs can access? One I noted down earlier, Keith, was Be So Good They Can't Ignore You.
By Cal Newport.
Yeah.
That's quite, and Cal Newport's also wrote, I've not read the book, but it is on my reading list. He wrote a book called Deep Work, I think. Okay. I did enjoy Cal Newport's, and it's all about mastery. and it's lovely. I do believe that if we're going to take a client on a journey, and that journey of transformation, and not just decrease body fat, increase muscle mass, although that is important to them, and I know we're there to service a need for the client, and that's their need. But when I talk about transformation, it is about identity, not necessarily belonging, but a sense of relatedness with the people that you work with. And I think belonging and relatedness is very different. Building self-determination theory, self-efficacy in the gym, I think that's important. And I do look at the difference between instructing someone, where the level 2 and level 3 criteria is all about in terms of delivery. It's more around instruction. Mm-hmm. But then how you take that client on that journey and you move away from instruction, which is massively important in terms of health and safety and using the equipment effectively, and how you move towards more of a coaching process where you step back and you observe and you pose questions. And then the experience is even deeper because they're having to think about it and their experience becomes maybe more enhanced, if you like. Is the coaching process by Sir John Whitmore. Okay. I can recommend that one.
Fantastic.
Drive by Daniel Pink.
Yeah.
Is one. And Flow. I often mention that book at the Level Up events, don't I?
You do.
Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. If you don't like reading, most of these are on YouTube.
Okay.
And you can, before you buy the book, you can get a taste of all of these books by watching the summaries that people deliver on these books. I read a wonderful book recently called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Okay, that's interesting.
Which was about hospitality and about being so good, it was just unreasonable. And it was all about creating feelings that drive behaviour.
Which is, part of
that's quite nice. But Drive by Daniel Pink.
Okay.
Flow. And if someone doesn't...
There's endless opportunities, isn't there?
I did say, I think it was last night when we were eating, I do feel quite embarrassed that years ago all my reading was around health and fitness. And now my reading is like 70% looking at what other industries are doing, and only like 30% around health and fitness. I don't neglect my understanding of the human body and the information that's coming through, but I do like to look elsewhere about what other industries are doing and what other people outside our industry are saying.
Yeah, there's a ton of tips there, and you've kindly put together a reading list. I just remembered as we were talking.
I did, didn't I? So yeah.
We'll put the link in the description of the podcast so people can access that as well for further education.
But if anyone listening, if there is anyone listening, always go to like YouTube and watch the synopsis.
Yes.
To see if it is relevant to you. Yeah. And then get the book. Perhaps that might be
And the narrator sometimes. I always listen to the narrator, especially in an audio situation, because if you can't listen to their voice, you're going to be tuned.
Especially if you're driving.
Yeah, that's never fun. That's never fun. Keith, thank you so much.
Mate, it's been, honestly, I think this is the first one I've done ever. Probably the only one now that I've done.
You're a pro.
I can't thank you enough for, one, today, and two, the opportunity to work for you. It's been a dream for the last couple of years, so thank you very much.
It's been great getting to know you, Keith, and I think there's a ton of value in this session today. It'll be the first of many podcasts, I'm sure, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come down and share your story with us today.
And bless you. And also, for those of you who don't listen, Jake is behind the screen, and he also put me at ease this morning. So I don't know whether he often gets a mention.
He's the man who makes it all happen.
He often gets a mention. I've got to mention Jake, and the fact that he recommended last time I saw him some great music, right? And I've started to download his music recommendations, and they're really good as well.
We'll get a playlist on the description. But yeah, let's finish with a round of applause for Jake.
Oh.
Mr. Smith, awesome.
Mate, well done, mate.